Hello, good morning, children. So, we are back after the paper distribution. We shall continue with our same chapter itself, but before that, I would like to convey a few important things to you. What I went through, what I noticed when I went through your papers. See, you people are not having good textbook reading. I have told earlier itself, I have told my students, I normally say to all the students too, that you must be going for a thorough textbook reading. An answer is being expected to written in such a manner which will be covering the major important points. See, like for example, during the paper distribution itself, I stated, when you have been asked about cork, why are you writing the things that you have studied in your 8th standard? There are many new things that you have learned in your 9th standard. You have to include those points that are there. Okay, so go for a thorough textbook reading. Wherever diagrams are necessary, draw the diagrams. Even it's in a miniature form, it's okay, you can express your answer. Some of the students have written so exceptionally well that I need to appreciate them. Like one of the paper when I was going through, they that student scored 18 out of 18. The last 5 mark section, one mark, the sub questions that were there, importance written separately, functions written separately, structure written separately, and that too supported with the diagram. I was totally amazed by it. I want everybody to write your answer paper in such a manner. Okay, so always there is a scope for improvement. Just look into the like faults that you have made, like look into the errors that you have made this time, and next time just try to improve it. But one more important thing, don't forget to read your textbook. There may be many xyz supporting material that your parents might have brought to you, or when you explore the internet there would be many notes that you will be getting, but nothing is equal to what you are having in your ncrt. Okay, so read your ncrt thoroughly, go through the videos that your teachers are giving you as a support material, and then frame your answers, and then write your answers in a point wise manner. So the important words that must be coming, it must be there. If the word itself is not there, the teacher won't be able to give the marks. Like one more example I would be telling is about the plasmolysis and the cell wall pressure question that was there. Okay, many of you wrote the concept, but you forgot to write about the word plasmolysis. How can a teacher give you a mark? Because that word itself carries half mark over there. You have written that the plant cell is having cell wall, but cell wall is exerting a pressure because of which the breaking of the cell wall is not taking place. Where is the word pressure over there? Okay, so such key mistakes you have made, what I noted when I went through the 2 classes, just try to improve that for your next time. Okay, so it's all well and fine, there is always a scope for improvement. I hope next time you people will be writing the paper in an excellent manner. So let's just continue today with where we stopped. Okay, now there's a diagram that's there in the textbook that's actually focusing on the hygiene and sanitization. So I want you people to go through the diagram. This is the only clarity that I could get, because if we stretch it a little bit more, the clarity with the words will be going. So I want you people to see the textbook diagram that is there. All of you have the textbook, so no worries are there. The 5F, what is to be done? Prevention of transmission of diseases by maintaining sanitization and hygiene. Sanitization and hygiene, these are the different things that has been mentioned. So fecal matter is there, fluids, fingers, then you are having flies, then you are having fields, and then you are having the last one, it's not clear for me too either. So just go through the diagram. Here they are mentioning about the hygiene. So hygiene, how you are doing? So protect the water source. Sanitization, treat and store the water safely. You remember in your 8th standard you have studied about the different methods by which you can sanitize the water. The traditional method that we use at our home is boiling the water. Apart boiling the water, we can go for adding the chlorine tablets that are there. We can go for adding a little bit amount of bleaching powder that is there. So these are all different steps by which we can have the sanitization. Next, wash hands before preparing preparing and taking the food, that is hygiene. And sanitization, wash hands after defecation. After we use the toilets, it's actually a good habit, a natural habit, that we must be washing our hands. So it is the sanitization. Next one is flies. To prevent the flies, cover the food and control the flies. How can we control the flies? So there are different types of sprays that are available in the market. Organic, inorganic, both are available. We have to normally switch on to the organic one, which will be having a control over the flies. The next one is clean vegetables and fruits before the use. Avoid open defecation. That's why the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has a very important role. It's been even calculated, it's been even formulated that after the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was being launched, the use of the toilet increased, which actually decreased the different types of diseases in the village area, because now the village people are being they are using the toilets, they are not going into the open fields. So the diseases in this area was brought into an control. Next one is proper drainage system and treatment of water. First and the last point is almost linked, so I'm not explaining that once again. So next we shall have a look at the infectious agents and the diseases. If you just remember, we had seen this earlier over here. Okay, so these are the different types of pathogen. How do they look and what are the common diseases that are there? Same thing itself over here, but since it's a continuation, I thought that I need to include it. You have different infectious agents like virus are there. Okay, what do virus do? So virus, they cause different types of diseases. Deadly virus right now is the corona one. So you are having common cold, influenza, dengue fever and the AIDS. Then you have bacteria. Bacteria are responsible for typhoid, fever, cholera, tuberculosis and for anthrax. You have studied about anthrax earlier in your 7th standard. Okay, so next you are having the fungi. Fungi are responsible for many common infectious diseases. Then you have having protozoans. Protozoans are the tiny unicellular organisms. Okay, tiny unicellular organisms which are responsible for causing many diseases. The most widespread disease all around the world is the deadly malaria. So in the tropic region, you can see, because of the growth of the mosquito and different types of pathogens, again mainly mosquito, let's talk about. We have malaria. Kala azar is also one of the protozoan disease. Finally, we are having worms. Worms are responsible for many different types of intestinal worms are there. And then finally you are having the elephantiasis. In elephantiasis, the legs will become very heavy, they become very swollen. It is also because of a worm. The diagram from the textbook. How is the transmission? How is the disease transmitted from one infected person to another person? How is the disease transmitted from an infected person to another? So you have direct contact by air, indirect contact by food, mosquito or insect, rabid animal. Rabid animal is an animal which is having rabies, so it is a rabid animal. So these are the different ways by which a person, by which an infected person can transmit the disease to a healthy person. This is what we are seeing right now, because of which we are wearing the mask. What is it? Coronavirus. Okay, so the droplets, when a infected person, when the droplets are there released inside the air, if we are in the close vicinity, what will happen? We will inhale that virus and we will be also getting infected because of it. That's the reason we are taking a primary precaution to cover our nose and our mouth. Okay, so means of spread of infectious disease. Infectious disease spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, food, water, vectors, physical contact and sexual contact. These are the different methods by which they are spreading. Let's have a look. Through air. So through air you will be normally having the virus as well as the bacteria. So they are your common cold, common cold, tuberculosis, pneumonia, etc. Through water it is cholera. Amoeboic dysentery. Through water means how? See, suppose if there is an infected person and that infected person passes the stool or passes the fecal matter in an open area, and that fecal matter get mixed with the drinking water. So if a normal person is not boiling it or drinking the water, contaminated water as it is, that person gets a chance of getting cholera. Round about before the independence time, you can just google it and see also. Before the time of independence, India was under a very bad attack of cholera. There were many people who died because of cholera. Next one is about the amoeboic dysentery. Amoeboic dysentery is caused because of entamoeba. We have studied only amoeba right now, but apart from amoeba we have one more another type of amoeba that is called as entamoeba. That entamoeba is responsible for causing amoeboic dysentery. So dysentery, that is loose motions, will be taking place, but if we examine the stool, in the stool we will be able to see the entamoeba. So that's about it. Next one is through vectors. So as you stated earlier, pathogens, vectors are the organisms who will be carrying the pathogen. So like for example, mosquito is a vector of dash. Mosquito is a vector of plasmodium. Who is responsible for causing malaria? It is plasmodium which is responsible for causing the malaria. But what is mosquito doing? Mosquito is carrying the plasmodium. So they are called as vectors. In the same manner, houseflies, you can see they will be coming and sitting on our food and they will be starting to cleaning themselves. Okay, during that cleaning processes itself, the fly will be dropping many of or leaving behind many of the bacteria on our food, even though the food is kept just open for a little bit amount of time. So housefly is also a vector. So these are the common vectors that are there. So mosquitoes, they are the vectors which are responsible for malaria, dengue and yellow fever. Flies, they are responsible for causing typhoid, tuberculosis, diarrhea, dysentery, etc. Through sexual contact, we know one disease which is very spreading at an alarming rate. So if one is not having good practices, he or she may get infected. So what's that? It's because of a virus. What's the name of the virus? It is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, and it causes a syndrome. The name of the syndrome is AIDS. So it's called as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So through sexual contact, apart from AIDS, we are having many other diseases also. Like we are having syphilis, we are having gonorrhea, we have warts. These are all what? These are all sexually contacted diseases or sexually transmitted diseases, STD. Okay, so AIDS virus can also spread through blood transfusion and from the mother to her child during pregnancy and through breastfeeding also. There are different methods that are there by which the spread is being taking place. So that's just about it. Next slide over here. So the same slide it is. I just thought you can pause the video right now and just take time to read it. Okay, whatever I explained is just the same thing itself. So pause it, read it, and then move further. Okay, now let's talk about some of the work that you have to do today. Works like few names are there, scientific names are there in your textbook that you need to study. So all of you will practice writing those names minimum 25 times without spelling mistake. A short question for your exam. You will be having the names of this bacteria and you have to write it correctly with the spelling. What are they? How are they to be written? I'll just explain you right now. Okay. First one is about the peptic ulcer. So peptic ulcer is the ulcers that are being caused in our digestive system, and it was been discovered that it is a bacterium, and the name of the bacterium is Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori. You have to write the spelling like this itself. Capital H must be there and small p, same manner, but you have to underline it separately. When you write it, you have to underline it separately. See, this is the scientific way of writing a name. Since our chapter diversity in living organism is being deleted from the curriculum for this year, you people are not studying how to write it, but I want you people to remember the way you have to write it for your future references. Adanath, in that chapter we actually teach you how it is being written and different practices are being done, but since it's a continuation, I want you people to write it properly. So what did I say? Write the spelling as it is, okay? Capital H, small p, write it as it is, but you have to underline it separately. So some smart people, some smart brains would be thinking, teacher, they have not underlined over here, why are you asking us to underline the word? So this is written in italics. It's written in italics. So if you write it in italics, you don't need to underline it. These are some scientific rules that you have to follow when you write a scientific name. So when you write a scientific name, you will be seeing two words are there. What are there? There are two words. First one is the genus name, second one is the species name. First one is the genus, second one is the species. The first letter is written capital for the first word. The first letter of the second word is written small, and you have to underline it separately. What's our scientific name? So we are humans. Humans are called as Homo sapiens. Mango tree is called as Mangifera indica. Then you are having Tulsi plant is called as Ossivum sativum. Like that, different names are there. Okay, these are called as the scientific name. There are some rules when you write the scientific name. I hope it is clear. So write it as it is and underline it separately. Take time to read this. I'm not going for a reading because time issues are there. That's one thing. What you have to remember in this is peptic ulcers, name of the bacteria, and the scientist who got the Nobel Prize. Peptic ulcer, name of the bacteria, and the scientist who got the Nobel Prize. I'll take up this portion in the next section also. There I will be going for much explanation. Today itre matram chedamadi. Next one is about SARS. So you are given a picture and you are being asked to identify the organism. This organism is a virus which is responsible for causing SARS. What is SARS? That's your comment section today. You have to find out what is the full form of SARS. So SARS is actually a disease. It's a disease which is related to your respiratory tract. Okay, so if you are able to get the answer, some of you might have got it. Others, just find it out and comment that in the comment section. Next one is about Leishmania. Okay, so this picture is about Leishmania, which is a protozoan that causes Kala Azar. So ഇവിടെ പഠിക്കേണ്ട എന്തുവാ? Leishmania causes Kala Azar. Which is a protozoan. Next one. Here you can see the picture of Staphylococci that is responsible for causing acne and pimples. Okay, so pubertal changes, we know the production of the oil glands will be taking place. Oil glands activation will be taking place. So there is lot of bacteria coming and getting deposited over our skin, and we end up with having acne and pimples. So it is the bacteria that is called as Staphylococci. So you have to write the spelling. Staphylococci causes acne. Next one is Trypanosoma. It is a protozoan that causes sleeping sickness. So this is the Trypanosoma. Can you identify which cell is this? Urinoda cell. Which cell is this? That's the RBC. Okay. Next one is about the Ascaris lumbricoids. Okay, so it is responsible for causing many different types of intestinal disorders. This is what you have to study. So write it 25 times and you have to study this. I repeat once again. Peptic ulcer, Helicobacter pylori, peptic ulcer, Helicobacter pylori. Next one, SARS. Your comment section you have to find out what is SARS standing for. Next one is leishmania. Leishmania causes kala azar. Then staphylococci causes acne. Then you are having trypanosoma, which causes sleeping sickness. And finally Ascaris lumbricoides, which is responsible for many different types of intestinal disorder. Okay, so that's all for today. I stop over here. Just read the textbook and do the comment section. Okay, see you in the next class.